Hi, Sagittarius Sun and Rising. Welcome to your June 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. And as a Sun in Sagittarius, I'm always extra interested in these online horoscope readings that I do. And I just want to say that I'm recording this in early May, so I'm going to speak in the future tense. I don't want to pretend that the full moon in Sagittarius has already occurred because at this recording it hasn't occurred. And for a lot of you, it will not be, it'll be something in the future. So I might as well just come clean about that. So on May 23rd, there will be a full moon at almost 3 degrees of Sagittarius. So Sagittarians coming into June have dealt with this full moon, which, by the way, means that the sun is in the opposite sign opposing the moon. So the sun is at that 2 whatever degree mark, almost 3 degrees of Gemini, and that is for Sagittarius the 7th house of committed partnership. So as the month of June begins, we have the sun in this sector already, and we've already had this opposition between that 1st and 7th houses earlier on in the 3rd week of May. So when June begins, we have Mercury going into this sector on the 3rd of June. And Mercury can be communication about something. It can be documents. So it is possible that there are some Sagittarius that are getting married, legally married, and they have to get everything together. Maybe they are having a ceremony and they have to get all their ducks in a row as far as the legalities are concerned. Or the wedding reception hall, calling people. So Mercury here could be discussing something that is connected to your wedding. June weddings are pretty commonplace, aren't they? So it certainly wouldn't be much of a stretch to talk about that in terms of this month. But there are some things that are going on that are connected to relationships. And if you have formed a partnership with someone, then it's possible that something is going on along those lines. On the 6th of June, which I happen to notice is a 6-6 portal, hard to find a lot of information about these portals, which we just had the 5-5 one. There are some energy readers that make videos on it, but there's not much like written material about it. But from what I ascertained, they're taking it from numerology. So because 6 connects with Venus, it might have great manifestation abilities for money and love. And in your case, or our case, I guess, because it's the 7th house of committed partnership, that kind of seals the deal, because Venus rules that house in astrology. That's Libra's domain. So a new moon here could be, again, people coming together in a partnership. Even if they have already been together, they might be coming together legally. The 7th house can be legal affairs. And also it can be for someone, maybe Sag is not a sign that is just tends to be eager to get married, let's say, or even move in with somebody, because we love our freedom, don't we? But it happens, Sagittarians get married, they get hitched, they live with people and all the time. But sometimes it takes a change of heart. And so that new moon in your relationship sector could be just that kind of a thing, because we have Mercury there too. So your mind is possibly thinking about this issue, maybe grappling with all of it. Oh, and by the way, our ruler in June is already in this 7th house in Gemini. At the time of this recording, Jupiter has not yet gone into Gemini. That will occur on May 25th. So only 2 days after the full moon in Sag. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sag. So that is very significant for Sagittarians. Or maybe you're forming a partnership with somebody and you're going to begin around this time. I think that just by virtue of having Jupiter here, that you're going, if you are not, in a place where you're ready to commit to someone, you may in the next year get a lot of opportunities to meet people that are compatible enough with you that they could be like a permanent partner. So Jupiter can bring abundance in whatever house it visits. On the 9th, Mars goes into Taurus, and this is your 6th house of health, work, and your daily routine. There's a physicality about Mars, so certainly for health matters, you may be taking up some kind of exercise or stepping it up a notch. The 6th house can be the workplace, so watch out for any kind of conflict in the workplace. And of course, it goes without saying that you can't control conflict on the part of another person, but you do not have to, take the bait. You can stay above the fray. This can be something that you're very ambitious about. Now, it could be something health-wise, but it could also be something work-related. Maybe you're working longer hours right now. If so, you have the wherewithal to do that because Mars can give you extra energy. On the 17th, Venus and Mercury both go into Cancer. For Sagittarius, this is the 8th house. The 8th house is other people's money, so there is a potential for receiving a gift of money. I say a gift. You could say an inheritance. Or if this is like divorce proceeding, you're getting money from the result of that. Or for another person, maybe a lawsuit or anything of that nature. Yeah, I mean, you could be getting money from some other source, but it's not something that you worked for. But with Venus, I do think of something that comes to you without you having to lift a finger, maybe. And Mercury here can also be this situation of like a contract. So maybe you have to sign something to get that money. If it's like a dividend, like something just really took off, a stock took off, and you decide to sell, and it's really giving nice bank, you might have to sign some kind of papers, but that could apply to anything, or cryptocurrency or what have you. So it's interesting that both of these planets enter Cancer on the same day. On the 20th, the Sun joins Venus and Mercury in this 8th house during the summer solstice. I just like saying summer solstice. I realize that some of you are experiencing the polar opposite of winter, and it's just that power period of the year when the seasons change. So they'll be in the 8th house, and for the next month, Sagittarius may be thinking like a Scorpio or acting like a Scorpio. Let's put it that way. And so transformation can be really on your mind when you are when you have planets in the 8th house, and you have several now. The very next day, we have a full moon at 1 degree of Capricorn, so on the 21st of June. And this will fall for Sagittarius in the 2nd house of earned income, which is great because that's a money house. That's the main money house, I would say. So yeah, this could be this could be a good money month for Sagittarius in various ways. Maybe this is when something that you've been waiting for comes to you financially, or, like if you started a business and it started very slowly and now you are starting to see a turn a profit, something along those lines, possibly. On the 29th of the month, Saturn goes retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces. So this is at the end of June, and something is letting up that is connected for you in the 4th house of home and family. So maybe you have been working hard on some project at home. It could be anything from clearing it out. You're going to have a lunar eclipse in September in this sector. So there might be Sages, and this who want to move, okay? What I was going to say is this might have been something that is not a new desire for you, because you have Saturn here now for the past year plus, and it's almost like what's that word that means like twisting the screws? So you may feel like an oppressive presence where you live for whatever reason. There might be this influence that feels like it's holding you down. And it's hard to articulate. For some people, it can be for a variety of reasons. For instance, you may have a house that you feel is too big. Let's say you're somebody who is retiring, and that could be with the full moon in Capricorn if you're of retirement age, and actually that's not even relevant. Some people retire when they're in their 30s if they have enough money to do so, or 50s. It all depends on the individual, but you may decide that you don't need to earn money anymore, or at least in the way that you have been earning it. And you look at your house, and what if you have like a McMansion? Sagittarians, I'm not one of them, by the way, but Sagittarians sometimes, because of that influence of Jupiter, that Jupiter rulership, can there's that saying, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, and that can apply to anything that you do, where you go for the quantity, and it really isn't that quality for you because it's dragging you down. So if you have a house and too many possessions, a house that's too big for you, too many possessions, and it just feels like too much, that could be one manifestation of Saturn in the 4th house. So it only goes to show, or it only makes sense, that you would then embark upon a some kind of way of paring down what you have in your house, minimizing minimalism, so that you can move in the lightest way possible so that you're not just dragging stuff with you to your next location. So you might be kind of ending that process at the time. So it's not, I mean, what I'm saying is that Saturn is going retrograde, so it's not so much of an overt thing, but it's within. And also, another way that this can play out too is that some Sages may have been taking care of a parent who needs their assistance, maybe for health matters, and perhaps you will be relieved of your duty in late June if you are doing something like this. But it's also about, kind of that soul searching within yourself, because it's not going to be the case for everybody who experiences this that they're going to easily do it. Some people may resist it at first. And, everybody has to do what is right for themselves. Nobody can tell you whether or not you should do this or you should do that. Nobody should all over you. But it can be that you are, like if we look at Saturn as parenting, that you have to parent yourself. Saturn in the fourth house, I feel, I might have read this, that it could lead to psychotherapy for some people, or it's possible that it's Pluto, but I think Saturn is another sign where a person has to face reality. Definitely Saturn is about, no illusions. And the fourth house can be your childhood. And even for those people who had a horrendous childhood, who definitely suffered from abuse of some sort and could make a great case for that, it's important to note that you can only, live in the past so long. So it might be the case that some people, it's not that I'm saying that you're milking it or anything along those lines. It might simply be that you're stuck, but you have to unstick yourself. In other words, nobody's going to come to save you. That's kind of what Saturn is telling you. And therefore, you might have to work on yourself, because when Saturn goes retrograde in the fourth, it can, trigger certain feelings that have been kind of dormant, maybe for a long time, and you're reliving them almost like it's the present moment. And yet it's here for you to release. And when there is that lunar eclipse in September, that might be a glorious moment for a lot of Sagittarius who feel stuck. Because it's like you don't even have to really do anything. Except to believe in the process, I suppose, and also to open your heart for this transformation, to welcome it. Some people, even when they're suffering, they're afraid of change, and so they might kind of cling to their false identity of being a victim, so we have to be willing to change. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so anyway, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonates. And if you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.